Is this thing on?
We are live in beautiful Corpus Christi, Texas. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Spooled Life Live. I'm going to jump on my phone real quick because if y'all noticed on the Facebook group page, we have a giveaway going on right now for the first person that does something. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it for the first person that was going to do something. All right, I got it over here. Whoever's just tuning in. I think I'm lagging a little bit on my cell phone. First person that does something, we're just going to go ahead and get started. What's up, everybody? All right. Spooled Life Live is live in Corpus Christi, Texas. We're home. We're the beautiful home of Whataburger, right?
Whataburger.
Beautiful home of the Selena statue. We're the
Been there.
beautiful home of Roy's Bait and Tackle. Beautiful home of Real Sportswear. Down the stairs to the right. Beautiful home of Ram Garcia, right? And beautiful home of what else? What else can we say?
The Laguna Madre.
The Laguna Madre, guys, right? It's a beautiful home of the Laguna Madre. So we haven't got. We did a post. I did a post for the first person that did something. I'm gonna wait till 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna give somebody the option that's already on. We have 11 people on that'll win. I usually tell y'all to do something at the beginning of the show to make sure that our audio is good, our feed is good, and everybody's seeing me nationwide, right?
Yeah.
But I have an amazing show for y'all today. This angler that I'm about to bring on, well, he's on, right? But that I'm about to let talk, has fished from Texas to Louisiana to Florida, multiple checks cashed in these states. Hell of an angler, redfish angler, trout angler, hardhead angler,
Gaff top. Yeah.
gaff top angler. We have none other than my man, Lawrence Sanchez.
Hey, you got it right.
In the house. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing all right.
Tell
Man,
us a
how
little
you
bit about yourself. But first, before that, I'm going to tell y'all what the post was because I got to make sure that is on point before we get started. These are the rules. If you go back to the post, right, you're going to see a JRZ cap that we were giving away for the first person. There's 18 people. For the first person that, well, I take that back. Here are the comments right here. Who was the first person? Cliff Nagel. I wonder why I can't see him on my phone.
I don't know.
Either way, Cliff Nagel. Can you see it on your phone?
I can't.
No. Cliff Nagel is the winner.
Oh, there it goes.
You won the JRZ cap. And you know, I've been getting a lot of feedback that the comments are here and there, right? The here, there. I was thinking it was like internet dependent. You know, some people had faster internet than some other people, so it got on my feed faster, right? Nonetheless, we go what's off the comments on my internet, right?
Okay, that's what counts.
You know what I mean? That's what counts, guys. I'm sorry. I can't give away everything, right? But I will give away the JRZ cap to Cliff Nagel for giving me the first thumbs up, dude. Congrats, Mr. Cliff. You are the winner of the JRZ cap, right?
Congratulations, Cliff.
Also, somebody give me a thumbs up if y'all could hear me. No echoes. You know,
Everything good.
we look good. We got the filters on, right?
I thought the filters were off, bro.
Mine is natural. Mine's now. I'm getting a thumbs up down there.
There we go.
I'm
Yeah.
natural. We got a filter on Lawrence, you know, just in case his sponsors are watching. Or something. So, all right. Well, let's get started. Congrats to Cliff Nagel. We got a bunch of giveaways. We got the one that I am giving away, and we got Mr. Lawrence's sponsors to donate an amazing giveaway as well. So, y'all are gonna have to stay tuned and listen. Y'all already kind of have an idea of how the giveaways are set up here. You know, there's context clues. You know what I mean? If I wink my eye, it's gonna be a test question almost.
Gotta watch this guy.
Yeah, so
I've
keep
seen him
watching.
fish, so
It's gonna be fun. We got some fresh carbach ready to roll. If we get thirsty, staying hydrated. I look good in my real sportswear attire. This is the new camo series. You get it online, or you cruise into Roy's Bait and Tackle and pick them up. They got them in stock. But this is not about me, guys. This is about Lawrence Sanchez. So let's get started, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Man, I'm from Pasadena, Texas. Yes, there's such a place called Pasadena, Texas, not California. And that's where I grew up fishing. I've been doing tournaments for about, this will be 17 years straight. Never took a break. Not a lot of people take breaks, but
Right.
I haven't. Started off with my dad. I'm 39 years old, so, if you do the math, started about 22, 23. I was still in college. But, that kind of made me fish back this way. So you're looking at 17 straight years doing all the tournaments, mainly here in Texas. Ventured off to Louisiana a little bit in between all that. And here lately started doing Florida with my partner, Bill Coleman. So that's pretty much the history about my tournament fishing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I call Corpus my second home because I'd say this place between here and all the way to the land cut is what really made me fish, like become a fisherman, like to make those fish hit, to actually make anything like bite. Because when over there in my area in Houston, Galveston, it's just kind of you fish here and there, you can't really see them. Down here, man, it'll make a fisherman out of you. So if you just move to the Corpus area, man, I put in some time here, and it's been a great time, and it's been about 15 of those 17 years, learned really quick fishing those tournaments. That down here was a lot more consistent during the earlier part of the year, and just some parts throughout the year too. So I like to call Corpus my second home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Corpus Christi is glad to have you.
Yeah, man, and it's great, man. And here at Roy's, the first time coming at Roy's, I mean, it's grown so much too.
Right.
It's it was this little shack pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
back then, but it had every bait that you could think of that you probably couldn't even find on the internet, and at the time this was a place to come to. It still is. And I mean, they just got so much stuff here. It's a great variety.
Back then, there wasn't much of an internet.
No, you're looking at early 2000s. You're looking at 05, 04, what was that, 02, 03. About that time, I mean, social media wasn't too big. It was about getting on websites,
Mm-hmm.
And I'd never heard of Roy's until we passed it by. We're like, hey, let's just go there. Apparently this this was the biggest tackle shop, between here and Houston. Absolutely. I mean, it got quite a bit. So
Right.
to find out about stuff back then, it was literally that. Drive by it, and there it is. Let's go
Or
check it
word
out.
of mouth.
Word of mouth. Yeah, at the dock. Hey man, there were some more of these.
Right.
What is this?
Where did you catch this shit?
Yeah, where do you get this at?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they tell you, hey, just go down the road by, get off on this exit. Okay. GPS still wasn't too popular back then either, so
Right.
you got to actually read signs
Mhm.
and do all that. And at the time, being 22, 23 years old, trying to navigate through here. I've never been through here, but fortunately, my dad, he's from the Victoria area, and he knew how to get to the island. He knew how to get
Right.
to where we needed to go, and I'm just riding at the time, so that really helped. But
Yeah, you're over there being a pain in the butt.
yeah, well, I'm sitting there strategizing and actually reading a map
Right,
because
exactly.
like where we're gonna go, where can we not get stuck?
Right. It's so easy now that you just plug it in your phone.
Oh my gosh, it's so advanced, So anybody that that's not from here, or you've never been there, and I mean, honestly, that made us so great in Florida because of technology. You didn't have that back then. You still kind of look at maps. Some maps still show some stuff. The technology, Google Maps won't.
Right.
So it's still good to look at that, but it's just so far ahead right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy.
What waters did you fish before tournament fishing?
Man, before tournament fishing, it was all in the Galveston complex and all the way as far south. The furthest south we went was to Rockport, Copano, and San Antonio Bay. that's about it. That's about as far as we went. I want to say I was like 11 years old when we started fishing over there. You know, it was my dad's idea. You know, and thank God, you know, he was there in my life to show me all this stuff and his idea. And I'm just, you know, a kid like, okay, let's go fishing, you know. Right. But you know, the whole time I didn't know. We're just learning, you know, where to go and what to see and where not to go, really.
Right.
And
it was just for fun.
It was just for fun, man. Fishing. Yeah, and it was a little different back then, you know, and doing stuff for fun. It was still kind of serious, you know. You still wanted to get your limits, still wanted to, you know,
you had to
catch a bigger trout. Yes, man.
Monday,
it's just, you know, that's what it creates. And back then we didn't have camera phones, you know. Still got some old Polaroids, you know, they're around. So, you know, I'm that old. Yeah. Right. And
you'd walk around with a book of photos around
just
you.
Literally, you have a notebook, you know, with that in it, and they're still around. And you know, the boats we used to have back then, you know, a little different. So, but that's about it, man. You're looking at mainly Galveston to Rockport, and that's where we stopped as a kid, as you know, in my childhood. Mm-hmm.
So then one day you say, you know what, you grow up. Lawrence Sanchez grows up, right? And you say, man, I've been catching so many fish, dude. You know, I catch redfish every time I go, right? I catch trout every time I go. Maybe I might just jump into a tournament.
You know,
right?
It kind of was like that because, you know, at the time, everybody knows Cedar Bayou, you know, over there in Mesquite Bay. That's just from the South Texas area, or just, you know, probably just who fishes Texas in general. And it was open, and it had this great flow of water, you know, and we just killed it, like just killed the trout, like you're saying, just, you know, like, man, you know, that'd be simple, catching 2 redfish, you know, at 27, 28 inches, no problem,
right?
You know, no problem, you know, and all this stuff popped up with the FLW and the, oh boy, Alberta, and man, it just, we're like, man, that shouldn't be an issue. Well, you know, we're reading about it, you know, I got on their website at the time, I was in college at the time, you know, and just kind of reading about it, and I'm like, man, okay, you got time, you got distance, you know, and of course I'm sitting there mapping everything out, you know, and you know, one of their stops was in Rockport, the other second stop was in Port Aransas, and we're like,
what tournament?
This was the FLW,
okay,
the FLW, and that's when Walmart sponsored it, and
oh wow,
it was just a huge ordeal, you know. It came on TV and it just blew up. You know, at the time
it was televised.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh wow.
Yes, and I mean, it drug out bass guys. You know, guys that just fish bass. They're jumping into this, and so we're like, well, we know more than them, you know, and so we thought, but
right.
That was the idea, and so we're like, all right, well, let's go do it, you know, and my dad's like, yeah, you know, we already know where to go, right? Everything easy peasy, right? And it was 100% opposite of that. You know, we got there, and I mean, back then you're looking at 110 to 120 teams, and you know, we didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. We didn't know how to start. I'm sitting there asking questions, and the tournament director's just, you know, I remember one time I asked him a question, and he literally said, "Man, if you're asking me questions like that, this is probably not the tournament for you," you know. And I'm sitting there at 23, like, okay, sir, you know,
right.
not knowing, but yeah, you learn pretty quick, you know, after that, and not asking too many questions and just seeing what everybody else is doing. Mm-hmm. But that was the first tournament. That's how we kind of leaped into it, and didn't know what to do. You probably heard this from other guys too, probably saying the same thing. Didn't, you know, thinking you know what to do. So, you know, we go to our first spot, and you know, there's nothing there, you know. Right. So, you know, we draw blanks. I'm like, golly, what happened?
They've been there for 15 years.
Yes, and
when we need them there, they're not.
Yeah, they've been there my whole life, you know,
right.
for the past, like, what happened when I need them, you know. And then back then too, like in Texas, you know, we all wade fish. Wade fishing is a big deal here. Mm-hmm. Whether you take your kayak, take your boat to your spot, you get off, you walk, and you wade, you know. And the guy that's running it at the time, he was like from Kentucky or something. So he's like, "No, you got to stay in the boat." We're like, oh.
Right.
Oh no, you know. So that was another obstacle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and they don't know anything about that. You know, from there, they're coming from the bass world, and you know, they see our boats, and they're like, what's going on, you know. So
I feel like a bass boat can't get as shallow as a
not at
shallow
all.
saltwater boat, right?
No, not at all. And you know, in some cases, you don't need so much as a shallow boat. You need like a faster boat. But you know, in Texas and Louisiana, and you know, fishing in Florida, it really helps to have that shallow running boat. And that, the bass boat, not so much at all.
Right.
You're limited to where you can go, what you can see, what you can do. You're just very limited on what you can do. But man, I tell you what, I've seen some of those guys with bass boats win the tournament, you know, and they find a way to win that tournament in, you know, 6 feet of water, some cases 20, you know, or whatever it may be.
That's where they excel, in that deep water,
right? Some of them, you know, sometimes, certain times. I mean, if that's their time, then you know it happens. You know, fishing all the way like to Sabine, the border of Texas, Louisiana. You know, there's certain times they come out to the jetties, you know, and then certain times they're not. I mean, they just won't. Or, you know, during a big rain, it depends on what's going on. They can be in that deep water. And then, just like any other tournament, they could be there literally the day before and just leave the next day.
right?
And that's
Or be there and not bite.
Or yeah,
Right.
and just shut down. I've sat there and just caught them for 3 or 4 hours straight, especially like in a jetty, and then they're gone. You know, like they just stop biting. You can look on your depth finder and they're like, man, they're piled in here and they're just sitting there.
Right.
You know, and seeing that also in Louisiana, seeing that shallow water too. I mean, I'm pegging them in the head with, you know, not literally, but just falling right on top of their head with the lure, and they're not having it, you know. But that's that was pretty much our experience. And then I'd tell you what, you know, you start fishing these tournaments and you just want to get better and better,
Right.
and you want to exceed, and you know, and you just learn. It seems like every year you're learning something new, and you think you got it, and something else happens, and you just learn from that. And it's nonstop, you know. It'll definitely make anybody, you know, a better fisherman,
Right.
just day to day.
Man, dude, we spoke a little bit about that, right? On fish not biting, changing your lure selection. We're going to get into that a little bit in later on into the show. But first, I want to drink to the Spool Life.
All right.
I haven't opened one of these yet. It's my first one.
Crack it.
We're gonna drink to the Spooled Life. We're gonna drink to Lawrence Sanchez. We're gonna drink to Royce Bait and Tackle. Everybody at the fly shop is staring at us right now. We're gonna drink to all of them. We brought them some today as well. What's going on, Roel? Everybody that's tuning in, we're gonna drink to all of y'all too. Roel, Bibi Nieto is in the house.
Yeah.
You know Bibi Nieto too.
Yeah.
Andrea, Alex, Colby, Zach, Bob, Chris, Vincent, Devin, Jeffrey, Mike, Vincent, Daniel, Chris. I want to say all of y'all, but I think I'm mentioning y'all over and over again. Matthew, Graham Taylor is in the house.
Graham, what's up,
There he
Graham?
goes.
He just got off a big win this week. Congratulations, Graham.
Yep, we're drinking to all the wins. Lawrence Sanchez and the Spooled Life Live. All right, man. So your first tournament, right? You and your dad are cruising out there, and you're like, man, there's no more fish here, man. What happened? It's all your fault, Lawrence. You know, what did you do? What did you and your friends do on the boat? You know, how far did y'all, your first tournament experience, you know, you go on and you say, you know what, I want to enter the next one. It's kind of like an addiction when you get into the tournament scene. There's a total difference between fishing and tournament fishing, right? Once you get that taste of tournament fishing, how far do y'all expand?
Man, I tell you what, once you get bit by that bug, it expands so far, meaning you will cancel things. I miss birthdays. Sorry, nephew, but
Right.
I love you. But I don't know how many birthdays because he was born in June. Unfortunately, you know, that's the heart of the tournament season.
Right.
So I missed on a lot of birthdays, and you know, of course, you know, saw him afterwards, and
Right.
you know, it was great. But you know, stuff like that, just really going out of your way to make these things, and you know, time away from work, time away from family, and you know, if girlfriend, fiance, or wife, you know, whatever you got, it's, you know, it can kind of put a strain on that sometimes, but you have to have an understanding wife, girlfriend, or, you know, fiance, and knowing that these things take time. It is an addiction.
Right.
You know, I agree with that 100%. And I mean, you're looking at 17 years, you know, I'm still striving to get this first win too, which we'll talk about later.
Right.
But you know, like I said earlier, you're learning so much throughout all these years that you expand, further waters. You start to charter uncharted waters. You start to look at other places, and then like you hear things. And back then, my dad and I, like, once again, there was no social media.
Mm-hmm.
You just hear things and people talk. That's about it. But back then too, people weren't as friendly as they are nowadays.
Right.
And especially if you didn't know anyone. I mean, me and my dad went in this blind back then, and we knew no one. And every year we just learned. And
Your
we'd
dad
see.
was your tournament partner.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, he was. And then he missed work. I missed work, and we took off time to learn all this stuff, to expand, and that's what brought me to Corpus. As I said in the beginning, I call this my second home because we came here so much, and we just saw the water and saw this complex, this beautiful, beautiful clear water with grass. Porter Connor has some good little section, but this was just unbelievable, and we just spent so much time trying to figure all these fish out. We just expanded it all the way down to, I want to say, Gladys's. That's the lower Laguna Madre area. So, I mean, we expanded it from literally, and then it went as far as east to Sabine. That's the border of Texas, Louisiana. From there, all the way down to pretty much South Padre. And then we got to fish the entire coast of Texas, which, everybody knows. I mean, Texas is a huge coast. Florida's pretty big, but Texas, I mean, it changes so much. Dirty water, oyster beds, to just sand, to just grass, to just beautiful crystal clear flats. And I mean, it's got everything to learn: dirty water, clear water, sight casting, conditions, tides. I mean, we learned all that in just I say just in a good 10 years.
Yeah.
To actually say, okay, this month we're going here, we're putting our time here, we're doing this.
When y'all first started, were the tournaments predominantly in Corpus area? Is that why y'all ventured off over here?
Somewhat, but mainly all the wins, even to this day. I'd say about 90% of the wins, they come from this general area. So the tournaments were actually held in Rockport and Port Aransas at the time.
Oh.
They did that every year.
Right.
And for, they had their reasons, their sponsors, and their, whatever deals they had with the city. So, that's where they had them every year. And a boy, a bird, they kind of were scattered out. But the FOW, that's the one that we participated. We made time. We made 2 weeks for, and took the time and
Pre-fish and all that.
yes, to accommodate to that, and that's what really brought us down here. And man, our first experience down here, it was too good to be true. We heard about fishing the land cut and fishing, the bottom part of the Laguna Madre. And we get there, and I mean, there was just thousands and thousands of redfish that we couldn't catch. And I mean, they were just everywhere. We're like, what's going on? And fortunately, we had a shallow running boat, so we're all in about 10 inches to like 4 inches of water, depending on what part of that flat we're on. And I mean, they're just everywhere, and they would not move, they would not bite, and they just sat there. And we're like, what do that will just drive you nuts.
Right. What are we doing wrong?
Yes.
Right.
Like, they're here. I see them. What's going on? So now, it just further expands, further now it's, we found them. Now what? That's 50% of it. The other 50% is catching them, getting them hit.
Right.
And it took me a few years to get that down here. And I finally was like, okay, this is what we need to do.
Mm-hmm. The tournament scene that was back then to now, walking up into a tournament, the tournaments I've been in, right, the boat tournaments, most of the guys will cruise up with their boats, their expensive boats,
Yeah.
They'll show off their boat a little bit. They'll show off their gear.
Yeah,
They'll
yeah.
be wearing their gear to
Oh,
the captain's meeting.
it can be intimidating,
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. You see all that?
How did that? Has it changed now from 17 years ago to now? Just the tournament, walking up to a tournament, and what you see. right? Not much so the experience of the tournament,
So that aspect,
but yeah,
that
type of
aspect
angler
in
you
itself still hasn't changed.
Really?
It's still, these guys that are able to afford, these gorgeous boats. Nowadays, after the pandemic, everything's just, it's crazy how expensive this has gone up even more, and it's still happening. I'm a small business owner, so I'll see these boats and it's just like, golly, what am I doing wrong? But they same thing. They've put this money and this time aside to buy this, and it's a tool. It's used to get to where you need to be, or what they want to do. And every boat has its own unique, I'd say, design for that specific, fishing, or you want to fish far or deep or shallow. Every boat's got its own unique use. So its own design, but. You walk up and you see all these boats, and I mean, they're just like, golly, it's beautiful. And to me, you walk up to a tournament, it's better than going to any boat show you'll ever see.
Right.
Especially these trout tournaments,
Exactly.
and you'll get all these ideas.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Legends is going to come up pretty soon. You go to that first tournament, I mean, just go by there, go see the weigh-in, see everybody put the trailer of their boat. I mean, that's an experience in itself, and seeing all these ideas and all these just accessories on these boats, and
Right.
how they have everything. It's pretty nuts, man.
Yeah.
And just every year, even from back then, it's like, oh my God, well, this one's better, and then another one pulls up, that one's better. It's the same boat, but they got something different. And
This is the boat that went 100 miles an hour.
yeah.
You're like, what in the hell? The kayak tournaments that I have fished, of course you want to pack light,
Yeah.
right? That's the big deal on a kayak. When I first started, I didn't want to pack light. I wanted to carry everything that I could, right? Which was bad. I knew it was bad, right? I'm only going to use about 3 lures that I got, but I have to have at least 50 of them.
Absolutely.
Right in my bag.
It's good luck,
So, yeah, it's good luck.
Because if you don't have them, you're gonna need them that day.
Exactly,
So you know how it goes.
Now I've gotten to the point to where, okay, I'm only going to take this one. But then you're like, okay, well, hell, what if this one just, what we were talking about earlier? I mean, if you catch 30 fish,
Yeah.
then what, right?
Exactly. And you gotta have backup. You gotta have stuff, man. And I made that mistake a month ago, actually 3 weeks ago. And here I'm 17 years later, still doing the same thing. But we're pretty keen on what we needed to do, and we figured it out.
Right. Best tournament that you've been on, right? And I'm meaning that as going out and catching fish after fish after fish, and it's not a tournament winning fish, right? How many fish have y'all caught in a day?
So I've had experiences with both, all within the 28 for Texas, within 28 limit fish, even in Louisiana. And I've had the other experience too. We caught, when I say hundreds, it was hundreds. It was like from when we stopped until we just had to stop fishing, and everything. Here was the deal. We're fishing a tournament in Lake Charles, and we went into Texas.
Oh, wow.
To catch the fish. Well, in Texas, 28, right? In Louisiana, it's 27. I don't know how many 27 and 1/4, 27 and a halves that we caught, one right after another, and it was me and my dad at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And just like every cast, and it was just phenomenal, and we couldn't keep a one that was in that upper slot. We ended up just keeping like a 26 and a 25. I don't know how they got in there, but we just up and down and all day long. We finally gave up about 1:30 or 2. We're just kind of like, I guess we can keep fishing. We keep catching, 27 and a halves to 30s. We just caught, so many. It was a really epic day, for catching so many redfish that didn't fit. Now, the tournament that we caught so many redfish that did fit, that was a feeling. I was like, man, we got this. This is the one we're gonna win. Because this is what happens when you win the tournament, man. Not always, but for the most part, they're just catching 8-pound fish after 8-pound fish. Just one after another. in the middle of summer, whatnot. And I remember that tournament specifically. It was the Oakley / turned into the GoPro tournament. And it was there in Galveston, and we're fishing the jetties. And believe it or not, we're anchored down, and literally every cast we caught nothing that was over 28. We had one that was right on the line. It wasn't over 28 on our board, but we're like, it's day one. Let's not take a chance. And we just kept catching him and catching him. I mean, my dad had to sit down, and he was still a little bit younger, about 6 years ago. And he's just sitting down, throwing behind the motor, hit backlash every cast, pick out the backlash, and catch fish. Mm-hmm. And just after another, broke the net, during the time. And, this is all day one. And this is just something we're like, man, we got this. And once again, we left we're like, well, they start the weigh-in at about 2. It was about 2:15. I mean, this is the best we're going to do. Scale was off like a pound, right. And we're like, we got 2 7s. We're all right for day one, And we go in, and that's when we're in second place, day one. And, that was one of the epic days, of just redfish fishing, slot fish in Texas. Mm-hmm. And, man, it was awesome. And we won't talk about day 2.
Right.
Yeah.
It fell through.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Once again, we we go out there, we're holding down second, and the guys that were first place, we're like .08 or .06 of an ounce away from first. So we're like, we just do the same thing. If we get second, whatever. And we go out there, and I mean, everybody knew where we're fishing. And,
really?
The boats are stacked over there. I don't think that had anything to do with it. But we get right back to where we were. We're good. Everyone's kind of cool. And we just sat there and fished along with the other boats and for hours. And we're like, what happened? They're gone.
I heard a story similar to that a couple of months ago that it was a kayak tournament. And that somebody had caught some it was a 2-day tournament. They catch fish the first day. And that sucks, man, because now everybody knows, okay, well, I know exactly where that dude's fishing.
Yeah.
We didn't catch nothing this first day. So guess what? Now we're just going to transition from our plan A to plan B.
Plan B is you.
Yeah, that's plan B is go wherever first place is at. You know what I mean? And blow their whole plan too. You know what I mean?
That happens a lot more than you think. And if you had a friend or friends that in the tournament, and like, hey, I'm okay, but I'm not on much, and then your big ones show up on day one,
right?
And then all of a sudden they show up on day 2. Are they still your friend?
Right.
It's all good, but that happens so much, man. In first place gets knocked down. Mm-hmm. I hate personally, being in that top 3 day one. It's good if you know that you're on, what you're on, or you have a good game plan and it all comes together. Mm-hmm. But, it just seems like that day 2 in the like the PRL championship,
right.
You're looking at 4 days.
Yeah.
Fortunately there's cuts, so there's not as many boats. But normally that second day, man, you just hang on and you hope that
that's what social media does. And we're going to get into that, the whole social media scene that you kind of just dig your own grave almost if you do it the wrong way, right?
Correct.
Let's get in. You know what? We've already been 30 minutes. Let's give something away, right? Or better yet, I did a post last week, a couple weeks ago, on a release post, right? Y'all were supposed to put in the comments y'all's release photos. We only had about 30 something. Right. Nobody here on the Spool Life releases anything, right?
No.
Obviously. Right? But those of y'all that do, we did a post. We got some good stuff. We got some Orion coolers, bag. Got some lures. I want to say there's some Caden lures in there. There's some JRZ lures in there. Reaction Strike lures. I'm not sure, whatever.
Yeah.
There was a whole assortment of lures. I got all y'all's names right here, guys. And my man Lawrence is going to pick one. Right here,
the lucky winner
is the. Remember, I told you I always step back. That's when I do it. Right here is the everybody's entry. Right, man, and thank y'all so much for jumping on the show, guys. If this is for you all. right? If y'all have questions from my man, Mr. Sanchez, throw them up there, right? Upcoming anglers, tournament anglers, kayak anglers. Any questions, redfish, trout related, right? You
Yeah,
fish
trout, trout red, flounder,
right, trout, red, anything.
sheephead. You got it. Yeah.
Shrimp throwing questions.
Yeah. I can
You
soak
do
some croaker, man. I'm
From
guilty
the
of
head
that.
down to the tail, or the tail up to the front, right?
I tell you what I prefer, and
You
what's
prefer
work,
shrimp,
what's worked for me, you know. So
right?
yeah, I like croaker in the summer, man. I mean, that's one addiction I got. To me, that's entertainment. You know,
Right,
the way
I
they
love
hit croaker,
throwing
man.
croaker, dude.
It's great.
Yeah.
You know, release the big ones and. You know.
Austin Matthews says, "What kind of boat do you run?"
Okay, so me, what I have is a tower boat, and Mayak Illusion M2. That's the tower that I use. My partner, Bill, he's got the new Sig 23 with the 450. I got, you know, my scout boat. That's what you use for the tower boat quite a bit. For fun fishing.
450.
Yeah.
That's a fast boat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's it's the 100-mile-an-hour plus boats.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When we've used, and we're still late a couple times, you know, with that boat. You know, because you try to push it sometimes, but it happens.
Right. Well, y'all have been at 100 miles an hour? On the boat?
No,
Or-
me and him, no, because it's me and him and you know, full tanks of fuel, so it's capable, but
Okay.
we keep it in the 90s.
All right. Daniel is asking a question. If I don't get to all y'all's questions, what's going to happen is myself, if it's a question for me, if it's a question for Lawrence, we're going to go back at the end of the show and answer every single one of them. I guarantee it. All right. So these questions are just coming in so fast, right? I've only got 2 of them. But
Oh, we got to, yeah.
they're coming in so fast, but someone has got to win, right? Brian Richter is in the house. I didn't see Brian Richter in the giveaway. Brian Richter likes to keep all of them.
Everything.
I mean, I don't know. Right? So, all right. So here we go. First person to come out of this cap
All right, see, lucky
wins
guy.
the. We're gonna call it the release giveaway.
There we go.
Who is it?
Connor Barnhart,
Connor Barnhart. You are the winner.
winner, chicken dinner.
Winner. Chicken dinner, preferably Barreras fried chicken dinner. Connor Barnhart, you're the winner. Cruise into my DMs. I will cruise into yours, and I'm gonna shoot you this package ASAP. Hell of a package. Thank you for participating in the 22 release giveaway package.
Appreciate it, Connor,
Connor
for
Barnhart.
tuning in, man.
Let's answer one more question, and then we're going to keep on going. My man Vincent Bowe asked, Daniel Pettis, no offense, man, but we're just trying to.
I can answer Daniel
Let's
real
do
quick.
them. Let's do Dan. How do you
Yeah.
judge depth of water while running?
So down here, it's a little simpler. Whenever you're on a tower boat, you can see it get skinnying up with the crystal clear water. You just look at the grass, and you can check out the bottom. And but the main thing is the ripples on the water. So if you see like a really slick spot and you're heading that way, and it's kind of windy, you might want to turn back around, man. And
Think about it.
yeah, and hold on, let's go ahead and put it down and you know, knock it out of gear and kind of float up to that, and you know, check that out. I had to learn that the hard way. You know, stuck on a few sandbars, and you know, if you ever see that real slick water and you're heading that way, you know, turn around. I'd strongly suggest that. If there's zero wind on that day, man, I wouldn't test it. That day is very deceiving, and to see the bottom is very deceiving too. But you know, and during an overcast day as well, it's really hard to judge it. But that's pretty much what I look at, is the ripples on the water. You know, the rougher it looks, you know, the deeper it's going to be. And you know, just looking straight down, that can be deceiving sometimes. But after doing it for so many years, you can see a little bit better. So, but my main focus would be on the calmness of the water.
Mm-hmm. Let's get into Vincent's, because he brings up a good point. How much time do you spend on a spot before moving to the next spot? Power fishing or thorough fishing?
So if it depends. Like if that's your game plan spot, you know, I'll wait it out until at least 10, 11 o'clock. That's just me, because hey, we've been fishing here all week, and this has been the best that we have. So, depending on the tide, hey, that tide has already passed or it's already flowing. You wait about an hour or two and nothing's happening. Every once in a while they still do pop up, but sometimes they're not. They're gone. Just like earlier I was saying about the tournament. We hammered them day one, and day two we stayed there the entire day, which that was a huge mistake. And from that, that alone, you try to learn from your mistake, but you're just in disbelief that they're not there. They've
Right.
been there the whole week, the whole time. They're the right size. But man, when they're gone, and you need to adjust with the fish. You need to adjust on conditions. Something might have happened. A tide might have came in that brought it way up, way down,
Right.
or whatever it may be. Freeze. Yeah,
Freeze might have happened.
I've done that. Day before, gorgeous, calm, like a day it is today, and the very next day, it was predicted. So, plan ahead. It was a huge northern that came in the next day, and we had to adjust to that northern. So go fish the area that's going to be productive to that weather.
Right.
But like I said, once again, back to the question, I'd give it to like 10:30, and then hopefully you got a plan B, a plan C, or if it never fails, to anyone, I strongly just get in the intercoastal and start throwing against that shoreline. And
Right.
work it. There's going to be a fish that swims by there eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes from Mexico to Florida.
And you got
There's
a
going to
whole bunch
be
of
one
gas.
there. Yeah.
You got a whole bunch of gas and your boat goes 100 miles an hour. So
That helps
who
too.
cares how far you are, right? So when you're cruising down the intercoastal, what optics do you use to see the best
Man,
that you can possibly see?
it's pretty obvious what I'm wearing. It's red tail optics. I got them around my neck. So I prefer these just because of the clarity. And to me, just seeing, like, it really illuminates that fish. It really illuminates the bottom. And, I like the Lagunas for whenever it's super bright. It covers the sides. The Baffins, I like these for more style, but I just like the way they fit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the smallest head in the world, so
Right.
they go good on me. You guys with a bigger, larger head, this is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then anything with like an overcast,
Like a greenish, like what do you use?
green day to day,
Perfect
just
day?
typical sunny day on the bay. It's green
Okay.
all day. If you're fishing any type of flat or anything like that.
the emerald, I think.
Yeah,
Emerald lens.
yeah, the emerald green lens.
What color is my lens?
Let's see, here's blue.
This is blue.
So you'd be doing really good out in deep sea.
There you
Yeah,
go. That's most of the fishing I do.
Okay,
Deep sea.
so if you do deep sea, Ram's got you. It's got the right ones on. If you're doing overcast, man, I love these right here. And these are yellows. A lot of people don't know about these. And they're like, man, why would I wear yellows? It doesn't block the sun or whatever. It does block the sun normally. I just prefer these on overcast. When we sight cast so much in Louisiana, that it's that's predominantly all the fishing we do over there. And they have like somewhat dirty bottoms as well. These work so great down there. It's crazy about what you can see.
What
My
do you
part,
call that lens?
I call these low lights.
Low light.
Low light lens is
That's
what.
like right in the morning, maybe
Yeah.
dusk.
So these are great too for running in the morning whenever it's still kind of the gray light,
Right.
and then any overcast. Even if it's raining, man, I've used these and it's been great.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just really see that fish move. You can see an object move. You don't necessarily see all the red, but you'll see something move and you can throw at
Something's
it.
there.
Yes,
Right.
and it detects it and you see it. And last year, I know for the Grand Isle tournament, it was like that, blowing like 30, overcast every single day, had zero light, and I think we got third in that. And some of the other guys, they're great fishermen, over there, and everybody loves Fish Louisiana,
Right.
and it's just a big competition over there about that. And and to me, it's anybody's game, but if you can't see them, normally can't catch them.
Exactly.
So
We have, if y'all haven't made the transition to polarized lenses, right? Roy's Bait and Tackle has a huge assortment of styles, models. Cruise in, talk to Joe Alcala, Zach Gibson. I'm looking at them right now. I don't remember the other one's name, but they'll be more than glad to help you out.
Any employee
with
tackle shop.
with any type of polar vision y'all need. It's huge. Polar vision is huge.
Yes.
Am I saying it right? Is that how you say it? Polar vision?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Polarized.
Polarized glasses, but polar vision. I mean, you can even stick your camera on your phone on it, and it makes a difference. You can see through the water and see the fish.
Right.
And I mean, there's plenty of YouTube demonstrations out there. I mean, it's night and day. I mean, it's almost like taking off your glasses and looking in the water. You're not seeing anything. You put them on, and man, I'm on top of 50 redfish, and it's literally night and day.
Chris Castro asks, are those yellow custom lenses or something they sell all the time? I want to say we have them in stock 100% of the time here in a variety of dealers.
Yeah. So if you went to the Red Tail site, they have them year round, and it's something. It's not custom. It's something that he sells purposely for that. And if it's something that you can pick up, you can go to the website.
What are the main colors? Blue, green,
and yellow,
gray.
Yeah,
What's
some
gray
grays.
for? Do you know?
So
Black.
They've moved. Yeah, Red Tail's moved to also on the stylish end of it, not just for fishing. And I have some of them. They got some of the aviators too. They got the mirrors.
Oh yeah.
And then for the women, they have the pink mirror lenses, the bougie bays. Those are a big hit.
I feel like the aviators aren't really a big hit. I mean, unless you're going to the mall, or you're going to the Trade Center, or you're gonna cruise up to Barretta's Fried Chicken for a large order of gizzards with gravy on top, fries on the side.
I like that.
A Diet Coke. You know what I mean?
I'm more of a Dr. Pepper, but
yeah, there you go.
You know
what? I choose Diet Coke because I'm on a diet, right? I have to keep my figure, right? I'm on TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
As you can see,
like
it's working out.
The sides, is much light as you could block.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Bring your face shield up, tuck in your cap. Like if you're at your
put your hood over.
Put your hood on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get as much light out of those lenses as possible to get the full
view of
of
the water, of the fish, and
of the fish in the water.
Yeah.
Man, you said it right.
It really helps, And
man, let's drink to polarized lenses. Everybody, Spool Life Live, polarized lenses, cruising to Roy's Bait and Tackle. We got thousands of them. We got everything you need. Roy's Bait and Tackle. So let's keep going. My uncle swears. Noise Artucci says, my uncle swears by that tone for low light. There you go. The yellow lens.
Yeah. Your uncle's right.
Let's talk about tournament etiquette. We're cruising out of time. We're cruising so fast, we're cruising out of time. Let's talk about tournament etiquette, respect, and how do you deal with those things.
So tournament etiquette, over the years I've seen partners get into it, and
your personal partner?
No, not mine.
Others?
Others. Of course in the beginning, it was me and my dad, him being my father, not always agreeing on things, always, but we settled down after the second year and said, hey, look, this is what we're gonna do. We do it, and then if it failed, it failed. Big deal. Mm-hmm. If it didn't, great. High fives. Yeah, right. That's it. So now you should have done that. You're sitting there blaming each other, and I mean that's one of the biggest things about these tournaments is finding the right partner to get along with that you're going to agree with. Not necessarily all the time, but like 98% of the time. That really helps. But having etiquette with each other and good sportsmanship with each other, that's where it begins. And if it doesn't start there, then it just leads to worse things with other teams and other situations. And that's a good start is with each other. So I'd say start with that. Now with other teams being having good etiquette about being on the water, we have these rules in place, and nobody's out there with a rangefinder. No one's out there with a ruler or measuring tape or right. Marking their area. Where we start, or this, you can't get this far away from me, mm-hmm. And some boats, they respect that, some don't. And, they have rules in place for that. We all have camera phones now. We didn't back then.
Right.
So it was just hearsay back then and wasn't too much done. But if you got enough complaints about that same boat, that same team, they DQ'd them. They said, hey, man, this is 6 tournaments in a row. Different people are saying the same thing. You're not welcome,
Right.
So, that's another etiquette, is just on the water with other boats. To me, confront the team respectfully. If they're giving attitude or whatnot, that's happened, before. And,
On your team.
Yeah, we were drifting. We came up. There was a boat about 200-300 yards away from us, and we're driving. We see them. We start veering to the right. We go to the right away, and we're behind them. They've already fished through there, and we stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So we got away, and then somehow they make their way back around to us and come up to us, and confront us, and we're like, well, you're about 300 yards. It's 100 yards. It's pretty common.
100 yards.
Yeah, 100 yards. Away from another boat, unless you get invited.
And that's nothing when you're on a boat.
That's not, man. And it's,
especially if the wind is pushing.
Yeah. I mean, it can be right up on you really quick.
Right.
If you're anchored down, absolutely, power pole down. But if you're drifting, there really is no rule. You're not anchored down. You're not power pole down. That's the general rule of any tournament. And, it's 100 yards from an anchored boat. If you're drifting or you got the trolling motor down, the trolling motor will make the difference too. But anchored trolling, they need to stay 100 yards away. So, and we talked, and then, it never happened again. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Doesn't always work out that way.
Right.
But, if this is the same person over and over and over again, then, normally that person gets DQ'd, is just not allowed to fish that series anymore, and that's happened, in the past. Like I said, back then, there was no camera phones. If he had a flip phone, he might have had a camera on it, and it didn't work out so well.
Right.
It's just you can't see anything. So if you can't see the TX number, then, you're pretty much, it's a lost case. But
Right.
Good etiquette to anybody, man. You see another boat fishing, even if it's a guide, a weekender, whoever it may be. Do your best to stay away from them as they're drifting, fishing, wade fishing, especially them. I'm not too big about saying, hey, you know what? You see a boat and they're wade fishing 500-600 yards away. Stay way away from that boat. I mean, you gotta go around it. Don't hit the boat, obviously, but go around it. That's good etiquette. Just be away from them. People, and all those wade fishermen out there too. I wade fish myself too. Have at least one person, somebody wear or bring like the donut life jackets. Wherever you're wade fishing, because even in my tower boat, I'm driving from 12 feet in the air. I can't see them.
Right.
You almost look like a post for 300 yards away. Before you know it, you're on top of somebody. So anybody that's wade fishing, have somebody have a bright yellow, bright orange, or something.
And that goes to kayakers too.
Absolutely, right? Yeah. You got your kayak parked here. I see your kayak, but I can't see you, right? And you pedaled, I don't know how far, and then to wade fish the shoreline.
Or they're on their kayak.
Yeah, being on it. You see it. I mean, definitely, veer away from it. Stay. Yeah, I prefer further than 100 yards because out in the water, it's really close,
Right.
But that's how we typically dealt with it and deal with it, in the past and even now. Once again, now you got cameras, so people are a little bit more respectful now because they're like, oh, I'm on film, so now you're getting posted on social media, got your TX number, and and people that fish all the time in Texas, they'll recognize you if you fish all the time as well, because you'll see them somewhere. Me, I mean, I'm all around, but I still see the same people fishing over here in Corpus that did 10 years ago. Still see the same people, same boat, 10 years ago fishing, in Matagorda or in Galveston, and then the same area,
Do you and your team go to the tournament post comes up and you're like, man, that's that tournament that what's his name's on, and I'm gonna try to stay away from that tournament. Or you're all like, man, you know what, he did that in the past. Let's just do it.
So that happened last year, and it was with one angler. Of course, I'm not gonna mention any names, but there's a lot of people on here that know who that is, and we we protested, from their very beginning, and they're pretty much done before the tournament starts.
Mm-hmm.
And they're taking that risk because we're like, well, how are they allowed to fish? They've been DQ'd, they've been caught cheating, they've been caught several times with other tournaments, and they're not allowed. And all of a sudden, they jumped on this one. So, hats off to them for reading in between the lines, for kind of found a loophole, with it. And the gap was filled that tournament, that day. So, day 2, they're DQ'd, and you'll never see them again.
Right.
Just, and unfortunately, it was a guide, but, he did what he did and, got caught. And everybody knows if you're entering these tournaments, somebody knows that you've been caught. Somebody out of there knows what you've done. And with social media, I mean, there's no secret. You can't hide it, man.
It's most of the time with these tournaments, we fish and it's the same people.
Yes.
It's the same tournament anglers. There will be a couple of upcoming anglers that want to get into the tournament scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's
the same guys. Yeah, that consistently fish them. Like myself and yourself. You're any kayak tournament that comes up that's in the general area. You're gonna try to get into it. You're gonna try to fish it. So the same guys that fish it all the time, right? Because that's what you like. You know what it's about, and it's a great competition.
Right.
So, I encourage anybody that's local, absolutely. Fish that tournament that's in your local area. You know it really well. And it's happened several times, even with the PRL, the series that we're fishing here. They came up here in the past couple of years, and that's who's won it in the Freeport area. It's been a local, the past couple of years, and that's great. You see anybody that's wanting to get into this. You see these fancy boats. You see these people with sponsors and all that stuff. Myself included, you see whatever I'm wearing and all that, pay zero attention to that, and go do what you know. And
right.
and I tell you what, man, I've seen that win I don't know how many times over the years. Then, all this experience and all these, ways and knowing the water backwards. Some guy wins it, half a mile from the dock,
Right.
and that happens a lot here in 37, here in Corpus.
Mm-hmm.
It's they jump right here on this close flat and they've won it. They might have spent a half a gallon of fuel,
Right.
the whole day. I've seen people break down about a mile from the dock, won it. They had 17 pounds. Back then it was just 2 fish.
Right.
And
luck has a lot to do with it.
I'll tell you what, man, it definitely needs to be in your favor. And
Right.
if you're just a local fisherman, you want to jump in these things, absolutely, man, you have a better chance and just as good chance as anybody else on that list.
You mentioned you're fishing up against sponsors and pro staffs and stuff like that. Pro staff, sponsored, what is the difference and how has media ruined them,
So,
in your opinion?
in my opinion, I mean, my opinion about pro staff is, you're on the pro staff, which I've been and I am on for Redtail, and my partner, he's with Waterloo and Compadres. Like, they give X amount to you on the pro staff, and they really help us, in some ways, as well. But everyone's different, man, and that's maybe like your pro staff, your sponsor is different to you, but for me, this is the way it's worked out for me. Being on the pro staff, I get X amount that they give to me, and then I am paying for stuff. At the end of the day, I am paying.
Right.
Being sponsored, it like Lawrence, I have Lawrence. They give me a great deal, but a great deal is what 30% off of a $2,000 GPS or something I get every other year, and they give me credit for the one that I have, which, just about anybody can do that, but getting the 20 to 30% off, being on their sponsorship. Same thing with Power Pole, if you're sponsored by them, everyone is different, and it depends on what you have worked out for them.
Mm-hmm.
But being on the pro staff, it seems to me like you get a little bit more, but you still have to give some. Being sponsored, it's a set rate. about what you've given. But once again, that's my experience on that with me. And as far as like the media ruining it, for anybody, like I say it's made it a little bit more difficult to pick up, a sponsor. They're like, well, what are you going to do for me? That's pretty much the bottom line right now. So media, especially social media, you can just get on there and post whatever, become friends with everybody. Everybody's friends with somebody, right? And it just scatters like wildfire. And there's all my advertisement. Why do I need you?
Yeah.
At that point,
it's like you're competing with.
Yeah,
with other
I'm
people.
competing against social media.
Yeah.
But is social media going out there doing what we're doing? No. Does Zuckerberg have the boats that we have? No.
Man, we don't want to say that name on this because we might get wiped out.
I don't want to say that.
Right, so
But
we're gonna delete that.
yeah.
I'm just playing. We don't delete nothing here, man.
Perfect. Yeah.
We're that's bullseye, man.
Well, it's fine. I know.
Raw,
I know.
We're raw here.
And why would he? It'd be that guy to be on a yacht or something. But my point is, what social media is going to do what we do and what people are tuning in for. Nobody. There's nobody that's going to have that except us who's there. We're doing the tournaments. We're putting in the time. We're exposing that, and people that are just getting into it, they have serious questions for us. Like,
Right.
hey, like what Jack played, or what prop,
Yeah.
what like certain things, because this isn't working for me. Or before I go spend $2,000. Not everybody's sponsored pro staff or whatnot. And we can be there representing them and answer those questions.
Right.
For anybody.
Loyalty is a word that's thrown out a lot, right? From being on a pro staff, sponsorship. Everybody makes their own deals, you know what I mean? But loyalty is the word that's thrown out a lot. But it has to be loyal on both sides. It has to be a two-way street
Yeah.
from your end to their end. You can't be pushing a product, and they're not pushing you in return because they can't grow.
And I hate to say it, it's
Right.
just because back then, especially back then, we didn't have social media. It was like they were taken advantage of. There's a lot of products out there right now that I say taking advantage. Nobody put in any time or try to even, they wore their shirt. Hey, I'm wearing your shirt. That's not good enough.
Right.
And what else are you doing for them? And they gave you all this money or gave you all this product, and you're not even distributing it or talking about it or just marketing it. You're doing nothing. And that's where, to me, that's put a lot of sponsorships, a lot of pro staffs in the position that they're in right now.
Right.
And to regulate, like, how are you helping me out? And that's why there's so much push. And at the end of the day, too, man, I mean, a lot of these products, I mean, on paper, it looks like they're making millions of dollars, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more that goes into it than we see. So, I'm not siding with them, but at the same time, I kind of understand them, is because they've been burned, in
Right.
the past. And
It's
so
a love-hate relationship.
it is, man.
Right.
And you can't, you can't always stick with the same guy. I wish you could, if you can, awesome.
Right.
Absolutely. And once again, that word loyalty, that's hard to find these days about anything. So, getting with those guys, having a good sponsor, but you're good to them, they need to be good to you too. So
Exactly.
you got a good
I
point.
put a post out at the end of 2021, and it stated, when painting a picture of yourself, don't let somebody else pick the colors. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. That's Ram Garcia's
Philosophy.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Man, we've been going for an hour and 3 minutes. I know everybody's like, yeah, well, when he's going to give something away? Man, we don't give it.
Come here for the free stuff, man.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
you know,
What am I getting?
Yeah, I'm here to win. I ain't part of a pro staff. I'm here to win something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Give 'em
So
something.
let's give something away. I'm going to give away. This is coming from Lawrence Sanchez. Some of his sponsors, right? We've got a couple
Yeah.
fish bites.
Fish Bites is one of my
We
big
got some
sponsors.
good stuff, fish bite stuff. Right, some lures, some jig heads.
Yeah.
I hope y'all could see it. Some jig heads. We got a couple buffs, right? Y'all are gonna get 2 of each.
Got some red tail buffs, yeah.
Red tail optics buffs.
Some Texas buffs, yeah.
First person to tell me how long Lawrence Sanchez has been in the tournament game. We said at the beginning of the show, first person, guys. First person to tell me how long Lawrence has been in the game. Years, right? We don't want months. Austin Matthews, you are the winner. 17 years. Right, it's different on yours, right?
Yeah.
But we go with Ram Garcia's, right?
Oh.
Austin Matthews, man, y'all were on point. Look at all these
Dang,
guys.
man. Yeah. Awesome.
Hell yeah, man. I'm glad. That's something I like to see, right? So, Austin Matthews, you are the winner, man.
Congratulations.
For the, I'll write this down because I will forget. For the Lawrence Sanchez giveaway. 17 years. That's a long time.
Hey, man. It feels like yesterday when I started. It sounds pretty
Right.
cliche, but it's been a while, man. It's been a long journey.
I wish we had more time. I'm going to keep going. We're already at a minute, an hour, 5 minutes. I got a couple more questions. We talked about the pro staff difference. We didn't get into tactics. We're not going to, right? We got a bunch of professionals here on the Spoiled Life Live, right? Upcoming professionals. Let's get into the good stuff, right? Tell us a war story. And we didn't even get to fishing from Texas, Louisiana, Florida. I wish we could have, because that's something good that I want to bring to the show. I might have to bring you on again. I might have to bring
Florida
Mr.
edition?
Bill Coleman, right?
Bill, yeah.
Back up to the show.
Absolutely.
Tell us a war story that happened while on the water. Boat broke down, team argument. You know, you rolled up to your spot. There was another boat there, so you said, you know what? You got to be away from me from 100 yards. You know, I'm getting off my boat. You know, something like this. Tell us something like that.
Man, let's see.
It doesn't have to be that, right? But
Yeah.
tell us a war story from
Man,
17 years.
Out of 17 years, I got several, but I'll go with here one recently, man, and it was last year. I'll go with a recent story because the boat that we're on. So we're in Bill Coleman's boat. It's a Simmons, the SIG, and it does the 107 if you wanted to, and whatnot. And man, we drove from Sabine it's Sabine Lake, and that's right there on the border. So it's really Port Arthur is where the ramp was at, and so the run was from Port Arthur, Texas, to Houma, Louisiana, and it was 251 miles one way. And it took a few weeks to kind of do the logistics of this, and we've always done long runs, but this is probably the craziest. And we're going through about, I think there's 3 different lock systems and 4 different drawbridges we had to go through.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and calling them, while we're going, 95, and they can't hear you. Trying to get on the radio.
Because you don't want to slow down.
No, not at all. I mean,
Right.
we literally had time. It was a total of like 4 fuel stops.
Oh, wow.
And I take it back 3. I mean, not including the one we left. So we went about halfway, and then the first fuel stop was about halfway, and then we had to fill up using both. He has 2 separate tanks on that boat, so we're using 2 of the gas nozzles, and just trying to get it in and out as quickly as possible. Getting the drawbridges, we're going, and everything's great. And man, we're going east. Well, the sun rises from the east, right? And we're going, and there's just a piece of grass, like a lily pad, in the middle of the intercoastal. I'm just kind of like, man, look at that. And he's like, looks at me, he's like, what? He's concentrating. We're going, 90 plus, and I'm like, man, it's just something floating. He's like, no, whatever. I mean, he smokes it. There was a log underneath there that we hit, and I think at that time when he's looking at me, he slowed down a little bit. We're going like 93, and he hits it, and I mean, I thought like, oh, this is it, like we're done with just go back, and we go back and we get into the fuel stop. I said, man, don't stop. I mean, unless everything lights up, and we're already 3/4 of the way, man. You know, like, what are you gonna do? Like we're done if it shuts down. Like, okay, and so we're going, and then, I mean, it bent the heck out of the skeg, and you know, did a little damage to the lower unit, but nothing was leaking. Everything was good. Everything was secure. The only thing is some of that wood from that log, we hit it so hard, it stuffed up the intake of the water. So our water pressure dropped from like 30 pounds to like 9 or 8. And so the whole way back, it kept overheating back and forth, back and forth. And then we made it. We made it back. You know, we literally had about, I don't know, 32, 33 minutes of fishing, and just boom, boom, get them, and came back. And the way that tournament was set up, you had to catch 2 day 1 and 3 day 2. So day 1, we made it back, and everything was okay. I say that, but we lost about 10 miles an hour. The best we could do was like 84, 85, and that kind of just, that screwed it up for day 2, man. You know, and we were late day 2.
Really?
Yes, because I mean, everything that we configured was going 90 plus.
Yeah.
At the worst, 90, right? Like at the slowest, we're gonna be going 90.
Oh man, that's crazy.
And so, I mean, you're looking at 502 miles a day, in the boat, and everyone's asking, so what do you do for 3 hours? I'm like, dude, you're looking around to make sure you don't hit anything and die. Like you're just, before you know it, you're there. Every time you see a bridge, you're kind of like, thank goodness, there's nothing there. But that's one of my most recent ones.
Man, that's crazy. I fished a tournament before, a boat tournament, and before we left the dock.
Oh man!
And I was like, "What in the world? How are we gonna get to Baffin if before we left the dock, the engine was overheating?"
Yeah.
But your engine overheating, hitting a log along the way, just makes for some good content.
Man, my other one was similar to that, and it was right here in Corpus. And this one's to me, it's a little bit more scarier because I literally sunk the boat 3 times trying to get to Baffin. During a tournament, yes. And I was really mad at myself because the weekend before I just took out a friend to go fun fishing in Sabine, and it was in a tower boat, and those tower boats are made for shallow, skinny water. We're out in the jetties, it's 20 foot. It wasn't too bad. It was a nice, beautiful day, right? We'll start off that way. We're hammering redfish. It's like, and he wanted to do it. It was one of my buddies and showing him, what to do, and the storm came in, and I mean, it went from sunny skies to just black, like dark charcoal, just lightning. I was like, oh my God. So
it's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain a little. It actually held on us on the way back in, and so I beat the boat up coming back in on that super deep water, and it cracked it. Didn't know it.
What?
Fished the tournament the next weekend out of Aransas Pass, and so we pre-fished and we're on fish by Baffin and just past Baffin a little bit, and we're ready to go. Like okay, so we pre-fished, spent an hour there, came back, put the boat on the trailer, and this is when I was with my dad, and we go from the boat ramp all the way to the hotel, just right off of 37. We get right here, we're good. Yeah. And we're looking, and my dad's like, man, there's some water coming out of that thing, and I was like, it'll be all right. So we go eat, we come back, still leaking water. And I was like, oh, man. I get underneath it, and it's like a sponge, where everything cracked. And it's like, we're going to do this? Well, it's an 8-hour turnaround to go back to Houston, get the other boat, come back. I said, man, we're on them. We just need to get in there and get them and come back in. All right. And that was the worst mistake, and we literally went to Walmart, I think. That's all they had. It was open at that time, and got some bilge pumps, and just pumping it out the side as that water's coming in, because the boat's leaking. It's cracked. Yeah, just keep it on. Yeah. We're good. And we're like, all right, they call our number, and we go. And we get right here to the causeway. The boat was delaminating so much, it clogged up the bilge pumps, and it filled those 2 back boxes up with water. And we're going down just past the Causeway Bridge right here, and we just stick it on the flat right there. I mean, it's sunk. It was with like 5 inches or 8 inches there, like right off the causeway, and we're like, man, what are we gonna do now? And we kind of looked at each other like, well, let's pump all the water out. So we plugged everything up that was on the inside, pumped all the water out, started floating again. Like, well, we'll go back. You know, and you were like, well, no, I think we got it. Okay. So we go and we get about to Bird Island, and it happened again. And then the boat's just delaminating, you know, even more. The foam, the fiberglass, the wood, you know, is coming apart. And we do it again. We pump everything out. All right, float it again one more time. We're like, if it happens once more, then we're done. All right. So we go, and we're just past Baffin, and we're 500-600 yards away. And we can actually see, like, man, there's the schools right there. And it goes down bad. Like, I mean, we had to put it on those rocks, you know, that are there.
Really?
Yeah. And that was it.
And wait till the water came out.
Wait,
a little bit.
pump it out.
Yeah.
One of the pumps went out, so we had to switch sides, and we got everything. We're like, okay, let's just go. It's going to take forever to get home. And Lord behold, it never happened again all the way back. And we're so close, yeah. And we get there, and I mean, of course, we get to the boat ramp, and we just put the power pole down, and it's starting to sink. And that was bad. I mean, we couldn't even get to our fish. Wow. That was, oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, that is a hell of a war story. We've been on for an hour and 15 minutes. Man, I could stand here. We are standing, right? I could stand here and talk to you all day, dude.
Yeah.
But we can't.
No.
Right? It's Saturday night. We gotta, you know, go back home to our beautiful wives, our beautiful girl. Are you
Fiance.
married or anything like that? Beautiful fiance. There you go. You know, get a Netflix or something or whatever.
Yeah.
Get your favorite beverage, preferably Carbach, right? Hang out at the house and game plan for the next outing, right?
Yeah.
Give a shout out. We had so much more. I might bring him back on, guys. We had so much more to talk about. We're only allotted an hour. Everybody's looking at me down there. It's just like, man, when is this dude gonna get on? We want to go home. They close at 6 o'clock. We're in here at Roy's, right? We're upstairs from the fly shop. If y'all ever want to cruise in, guys, I have unlimited amount of Karbach to drink. You know, there's some bleachers over there y'all could sit at and enjoy the show live. We're live, but you can come in and cruise into the shop here and enjoy it live. Right?
Anytime.
Hell yeah! So give a shout. Absolutely. Let's give a shout out to your sponsors, man.
Man, first sponsor I'd like to think of. He's been with me, or I've been with him since the beginning. Is Nino Gonzalez with Red Tail Republic, and you know, he's got some cool gear every year. He's staying up with the trends and staying up with, you know, nice colors and nice stuff, and obviously the sunglasses, man. I mean, thanks very much, Nino. You know, for helping me out, and you know, I do the best I can to help him out. And, you know, hats and shirts, you know, he's got these nice ones with the hoods. This came in, you know, into play so much, man. I really appreciate it. The other guy, he's been with me since day one, and that's Bauman Propellers out of Houston, Texas. And it's funny, a lot of guys don't know my name, but they recognize me, and they're like, man, that guy's in here a lot, you know. And it's just from beating up all the props, man. And this guy's taken care of me since day one. If you fish any tournaments, you do any type of tournament fishing, and even if you have to send it off, you know, if you're not living in the Houston area, get it to him. He gets it done right. You tell him what you have, and he'll make it to what exactly you need to get the most out of your boat, out of your horsepower, whatever motor you got. That's all you have to do is tell him. It was a family business, so you know, they've been in it for years.
What kind of prop do you run? The one that goes one way, then the other one goes the other way?
Yeah, so for my tower boat, I got the TRP.
There you go.
You know, and they're counter-rotating props, and by far, I mean, no one's came out with anything better. There has been one that's been so much. There's one pretty damn close, and he's from this area. It's Chuck McKinney, and he makes one that's made for any boat. It can go on just a single shaft.
Oh.
And but I run the TRP, so you know I'm burning through props, you know, 2 at a time, you know, versus 1.
Right, that's true.
Yeah, and then the prop that Bill runs, it's a pretty hefty CNC prop that Bauman has to do by hand and does a great job. It looks like nothing happened to it. Mm-hmm. So that's what we run. You know, I say we, myself and Bill, and you know, 4 blades and everything I make. A lot of the 4 blade props are custom through Bauman, so you can get with him anytime. He can custom make you one. And man, fish bites, obviously, man, I sure appreciate it. You know, just sending me baits all the time. When we go out there in Florida, they represent us quite a bit. So, fish bites, thanks again.
They're from
you know.
Florida themselves, right?
Yes, he's out of Florida, and you get with him right now. I got together with him with certain colors, so trying to work something out too that works here in Texas.
Kind of like the Lawrence Sanchez edition.
Yeah, it'd be
Right?
the Sanchez.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be cool, man.
yeah, and hopefully that gets made. So we'll see. But man, other than that, also I like to thank one other. He's not a sponsor, but he's really helped me out, and he's here out of Corpus too, and that's Kevin Shaw, man. He owns
Shaw.
Yes, Kevin Shaw. He owns FiberTex. If you don't know him, he's right here out of Corpus, and he's pulled me out of some jams. You know, I won't forget that ever. You know,
He's the owner of Stiffy.
he owns the push
We got
poles.
them. We're looking at them right here.
Yes, they have him here at Roy's, and he is the owner. He's the maker, the designer of Stiffy push pole, and a lot of people overlook what he does too. He also repairs boats, so that's a big thing that he's had. Does great work. He's one of those guys that's really anal about what he does, and so it's got to be perfect before that leaves that shop. So anything you got, you know, I've put some dings on my boat here and there, and obviously pop holes in them, you know.
Right.
And he's pulled me out of some jams. So thanks again, FiberTex, Kevin Shaw. If y'all get a chance, anything fiberglass, get with that guy.
One of the best.
Yes,
For sure.
absolutely.
Who else? That's it?
Man, that's it for me. You know, Lawrence has done me some great favors, and you know, obviously Yamaha, they give me some pretty big breaks at the dealerships. But you know, once again, you get into that sponsorship, pro staff deal, and you know, they can only do so much. You know, I can only do so much. So
At the end of the day, you have to. They're in a business to support their families, you know,
Yeah.
and they're trying to put food on their table as well, you know. So
they have employees. You know, they got payroll, they got
Yeah.
insurance, they got everything that comes with it. You know, being a small business owner, I got really keen to that. You know, getting into it, I'm like, wow, it's not. You know, it's not that fun sometimes. You know, dealing with all that, and you know, I don't know about you, but you know, working at a typical job, I expect to get paid. You know,
Right.
like when I do a job, you know, I want my paycheck. It better not
Yeah.
bounce.
Yeah,
So
you have to eat too.
yeah, I gotta
Right.
eat. You know, so.
Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of Spooled Life Live. We got another show for y'all. You know, we don't quit. Just like everybody else, we don't quit here at Spooled Life Live. 2 weeks, but I'm not going to tell y'all who it is. I might throw out the flyer Sunday night. It's going to be a good one, like all of them are, right? I want to give a shout out to the show sponsors, right? Of course, Real Sportswear that keeps me looking good, whether I'm on the water, whether I'm at the mall, whether I'm at Super S,
Stripes, you know.
Kmart,
Yeah. Bucky's.
anywhere. But most importantly, they keep you protected from those harmful UV rays, right? Carbach Brewery for keeping us hydrated. Man, they got this brand new grapefruit ranch water. I'm more of a prickly pear, right? I love this prickly pear. I can't get away from
Prickly
it.
pear's good.
Yeah, prickly pear's good, man. It's good. But they got they got tons of stuff, right? Cruise into the website. They got swag. They got caps. They got shirts. They got everything. Get swagged up with the Carbach Brewery, Texas. They're local. Well, they're local if you're from Houston, right?
Yeah.
Right. Do you live around there?
I live in Houston, man,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's where I currently live. And
Right.
I've been there.
But
pretty
are
much
you
my
around the
life.
Carbach facility?
Oh yeah, actually, I'm really close. So they're not too far from where I stay at. And actually, you know, there's multiple breweries, which is great, you know, because they're all from Texas and they brew it right there.
Yeah,
there.
good people over there at Carbach.
Absolutely.
Well, most importantly, if y'all are local, cruise into beautiful Roy's Bait and Tackle. We have just about, if not everything, you need to get yourself on the water, from kayaks to hooks to Real Sportswear to reels, rods,
Everything.
lures.
Bait, yeah. Some of the baits that you just can't find, you know, they have them here at Roy's. And
Yeah,
like I
if
said,
you
I've
can't
been coming
find
here
it
for
here, it
15
don't
years.
work.
Yeah.
Right, if you can't find it here, if you walk into Roy's and it is not here, it don't work.
It
And
doesn't
I will
exist.
vouch for it.
Yeah. More than likely.
Man, thank y'all so much. Y'all enjoy y'all's weekend. Y'all's support does not go unnoticed. I have a big giveaway I'm going to give away again. I just love to give away stuff, man. You know, I have it all here in my hands. So why not give it to the Spooled Live members, right?
Absolutely.
Invite y'all's friends, invite y'all steals, invite y'all steas. You know, the friends you don't like, invite them to the show. Just because, I mean, if you win and they don't, then you could tell them, hey, you know what, I won. You know, you did it. You know, invite them to.
They can win.
Yeah, give them a piece of the pie that we're giving away here. Thank y'all so much. Tune in this Sunday. I'm going to throw that flyer out. I promise that I'm going to throw that flyer out. We're going to have another hell of a show. And we'll see y'all next time. Thank y'all so much.